good breeze blowing up there. Feels good, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Reckon you ought to pull the windows down to keep it from getting so dusty inside.
No, just let the dust go in there.
Let the dust blow in and let the cool breeze blow. You know, it's been almost as dry this year as it was in 1925. You remember 1925?
No, I don't know.
How old was you then?
That's my age.
Yeah, I remember 1925. Boy, it was dry here. It didn't rain for 18 months. I don't believe it'll stay that dry this time. Beginning to shower around a little every evening. If it rains enough, them tomatoes will make a frost. Maybe we'll have a little gray zone so we can get a fall garden planted.
If it don't rain, won't be no need of planting no garden.
Well, it'll rain one of these days. It always has.
If it don't rain, we'll just go fiddling.
There'll be several contests this fall we'll get to go to. About another day's work on that and it'll begin to look like a fiddle. I'll make a pretty little scroll right here with this old knife you ever saw. You know, I wish that all them years I put in a carpenter, if I'd have thought about it, I'd have been making fiddles and making good money and wouldn't have had to labor so hard.
There'd have been too many fiddles around then.
Too many fiddles?
Yeah.
You can't get too
many years to shoot carpenter, there'd be too many fiddles around the place with it. What do you reckon it's going to play when you get it put together?
I never have made one that didn't play. I think some of these days I'll make one out of sweet gum and see how it looks. You go talking about that fiddling, I'm ready to go to town. Today. Oh, yeah.
You know, when you was out there in the crowd hollering and yelling, telling them to...
Hollering for Brian Houston.
You was hollering for Brian Houston, and I had another friend who was hollering for the other feller. But they wound up for making 97 points apiece the first time. And then the last, at the wind-up, Sleepy made 96 points, and he held his 97, you know. Old Brian Houston did. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it suited the crowd real good, you know.
It's always hard. Of course, Brian Houston, I thought all along had him beat. But it's hard to stand out in the crowd and make a decision on fiddle. Them judges sitting up there, you know, they watching what's going on, and they know who puts the most notes into a tune. And but I'll tell you, a contest I remember was year before last, Bob, over here on the courthouse at Athens, at the courthouse lawn. And we had Dick Barrett, Texas Shorty.
That was before we had it broke down in different divisions, you see. We have some young boys now and girls also that play that make some of these old fiddlers proud, you know, that they're in a different category because they're liable to beat them. And that little Paul Melton is one of them too, you know.
Yes, he is. Paul is one of the best, but you know, every man's got his own right to believe like he wants to, but I've yet to see that man that can beat Texas Shorty playing the fiddle.
Well, I think Johnny Gimble, if he's ever tie into him, Johnny Gimble, I think, could beat him.
Well, it's been a long time since I heard Johnny, but I know he's a good fiddle player.
You take judges like Bob White and Cliff Bruner and Little Red Hayes. You see, them judges, you can't fool them.
No, they
all on fiddlers.
They all good fiddle players.
It makes no difference with them which one it is, who it is. The music is what they're listening to, and you know these fiddlers will pick out the hardest tunes there are, Roy, so they can get more notes in them.
Brian Houston, we all know that he's one of the top fiddle players, and I've been playing fiddle about 6 years.
I understand you beat him too.
I tied him. No, I didn't beat him. I tied him out at Dublin, and I want to see you tie him. Should have old wood. The older it is, the better it is. That's the first thing I'll go to looking for when I go thinking about building a violin. What you're looking for in a violin is a tone. And if you build one out of green wood, you won't get that sound because the older a violin gets, the better it is. The old sail ships, you know, they was made out of some of the best wood. And they would find these old ships, you know, had been sunk, some of them, under the water, and they would go get the wood and they study out the grain in it. If it's pretty grain, the grain has a whole lot to do with it. They take this old wood out of the old ships and make a violin. So now, a lot of times I go around and hunt old cabinet tops and old timber out of old buildings and things, and work it down. Creation of anything is a beautiful work, and it really makes you feel good. Well, when I first met Mom, I was walking down the streets in Turl, Texas, with a guitar under my arm and with a fiddle player. We was fixing to go to play for a dance. And about 9:30, well, Mom said, well, I got to be going home. The boy that she was going with got up and said, well, told me, he said, I'll be back after a while, just make yourself at home. And I was sitting there talking to his sister. I said, ain't no use in you making that trip. I'm going right by there and I'll walk her home. So I just got up and got my guitar on the one arm and her with a hand and walked her home, and that's the last time here we got to go with her. We went together about a year. But about the third time I went with her, I asked her to marry me then. She said, well, it's during the Depression, you know, and we decided we'd wait a while and see if we can get in a little better shape than we was, but we didn't get in no better shape, and when we were married, I borrowed $2.40 from her to buy the license with us to get married, and I think it's a pretty good deal. I don't know where I ever paid her back or not, but Mom was an awful beautiful young girl when she was young. To me, she still is. Between sundown and dark is my favorite time of day. because that's going to be the favorite time of my life. You know, it's getting on towards sundown for me and Mom too. I believe when I leave here, I'll have a better world to live in than I'm living in now. Although I call this Paradise Valley here where I live. When I go home, I'll have a better home than this. Music has always been a part of the creation. Seems peculiar to some people, but to me there's a song in the woods. I wished, I don't know where I would have wished it or not, but if a man could understand what they were singing, they may sing a prettier song than a man does. And they like people are singing. Some birds had a fine voice, which we'll say alto and soprano and high tenor. You hear all that in the woods, and even the hoot owl, you know, he sings the bass for them. Everything that makes a sound is music. I've always wondered what inspired a man to build the first violin. You know, people like me that build violins, we've had that the pattern for years, but the man that built the first one, that is like creation. When you build a violin, you know you're building something that's been a heritage, and it's one thing that won't change. After you build it, if it's a good violin, it's going to be that way over the years. Another thing I like to think of is, I read in a book one time, it says a man's work follows after him after he leaves here, goes on home. And I build a violin, I think, well, maybe 100, 200 years from now, somebody be playing that violin and enjoy something that I made while I was here. I'm gonna play the Arkansas Traveler on this fiddle when I get it made. But you never know what you've done till you hear it sound. Dee 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 dee. Da dee 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 dee. Dee bee 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 dee 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 dee. Boy, I believe I got a good sound. I believe I got a good tone in this fiddle. So me do, do 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 do. I put the chin rest on and try out my fiddle. Dee 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 da dum dee dum dee. Sounds good. Never know till you put the bow on it, though.
Hey, Mr. Fiddle Player, Chinese breakdown. Make a poker out of it, Ken.
Roy, are we going to the fiddling contest at Paris?
Yeah, I never have been known to miss going to a fiddler's contest. It wasn't too far away. Boys is going to meet me up there and play with me, old Roy and Ken. Let's try to win that money.
What you gonna play?
I imagine I'll play the Chinese breakdown. I've always had pretty good luck with it. The Chancellor's Waltz and probably Durain's Hornpipe. According to how good a fiddler's there, some of them good fiddlers comes up there. Sometimes you have to change tunes right in the middle of the stream. Play a little different tune or something or other. If you happen to tie with one of them, I'm liable to have to play a half a dozen tunes. To get back to that fiddler's contest, we got to get that garden up yonder in shape and plant some fall garden. Is it too early to plant turnips?
Yeah, it's too dry.
Too dry.